Hello everyone on YouTube. Now I know it's been dog years, eons, since I've actually posted a video on this channel. Just over the years I've been busy with my Homemade Game Guru channel, growing with my young family, with my wife and daughter, and just general life stuff with work and my business and whatnot. But I wanted to add on a new video on my Happy Gnome channel after all this time. And as you saw with the title, this has to do with smoking weed and with a new product that I came out with. But I really want to share some insight onto why I started smoking weed in the first place. We all have our stories, either at a house party or for health reasons. Mine had to do more with mental health. But after I finish explaining that part, I will introduce you to a new concept that I came out with a good buddy of mine, George Leon, who's a U.S. Navy veteran. It's called Happy Gnome. It's a unique type of trading card set to introduce you to the many, over 700 strains of marijuana that's out there. But before we get to this, let me introduce you to my world and why I started smoking marijuana in the first place. Now, the conversation about why I started smoking weed actually started last week when I, for the first time ever, explained to my mother that I smoke weed. And not only do I smoke weed recreationally, but I actually started smoking when I was living with her back in my early 20s. My parents divorced when I was really young, lived with my father most of my young life, and then moved in with my mother when I hit, after high school was done and I went to college and university. And of course, as an old school parent, she was dumbfounded by this because, old school parents, they believe that they know everything that's going on in their household. And, I was the good son. I was the one who never got into trouble when I was living with her, and was quiet and just did my art and whatnot. So, but yeah, and there was no real reason why I didn't tell her. It's just it never came up and I just never bothered, but it just finally came up in conversation. We were talking about the fentanyl crisis in the US and even here in Canada, pretty much around the world, and how people are overdosing on these very powerful drugs. And I brought up, I've been smoking marijuana for a decade and a half, actually 2 decades really, and I think if people dealt with marijuana instead of, these other very powerful, deadly drugs, maybe we wouldn't have the overdoses and deaths that we're experiencing right now to deal with many of the hardships. And I understand the hardships of life and what's going on in the society and economy and everything else. So after I got done with that conversation with my mom and also hanging out with some good friends of mine who I've been smoking up with since back in the day during our early 20s and even their late teens, and some of the what we call chronic adventures we used to have in the day, very fun, madcap stuff we used to do when we were high. It got me thinking about coming out with this video, not only to promote my marijuana trading cards and why I made them, but also to give some introspection on why I started smoking in the first place. Because again, we all have our various reasons. But for me, just to give you some context, I went through the Catholic school system while I was living with my father in, elementary school, high school, and it was a no policy on everything, abstinence when it came to sex, and all drugs were a no-no. So I even had one teacher, I forgot his name, but he actually referred to marijuana as the devil's lettuce. I'm not joking you, the devil's lettuce. I've loved that name ever since. There needs to be a strain called the devil's lettuce. You heard it here first. But of course I went through high school thinking, okay, drugs, marijuana is evil, it's bad, don't touch it. And I had friends who smoked, and I thought nothing of it. I didn't look down on them for that. I never had a cigarette in my life either. I was never into cigarettes, never had to haul off one. So I didn't judge anyone who did those kind of things. But eventually, I would say like early 20s, I would say age 22, I had this friend Dan that we worked together at the movie theater, and then we kind of lost contact, then we got into contact again. And I used to hang out at his house all the time playing Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, all that good stuff. And during this time, I was feeling very depressed. As you've seen probably in my other videos, my history with trying to hook up with girls back when I was in high school and in my early 20s was pretty sad. I was the dorky, nerdy kid who was always too nice, too much of a simp, not realizing how the game worked. And there was a girl that I was madly in love with. I wanted to be with her so badly, and she always kept me close, but always kept me distant at the same time, if that makes sense. So she wanted me as her friend, and she would come to me crying about how she can't meet a good guy and where are the good guys at and all that. And she would date the worst possible dudes you could possibly imagine. And eventually it started wearing on me, because here you got this gorgeous girl that I'm trying to show her that I'm the guy she'd hook up with, that I would love her, respect her, and do anything to make her happy. But she would always date the worst thugs you could possibly imagine and come crying to me about it. And eventually I broke. I just couldn't take it anymore, because I was like, there's just no winning. And so I was at Dan's house, and I was depressed and mopey, you know, I wasn't down for playing Street Fighter, so he knew something was wrong. And he's like, okay, you know what, dude? We're gonna solve these problems right now. I'm gonna make you forget about this girl and forget about your issues. And he went and he rolled this big fat blunt. And at first I was like, no man, no, I'm not touching this, man. You know, drugs are bad. He's like, okay, enough with that nonsense, enough with that noise. You know, he was an engineering student. You know, he knew professionals who smoked. He's like, okay, enough with that propaganda. You've been indoctrinated to think this stuff's evil. It's from Mother Earth. It's grown straight from the earth. No chemicals, no nothing. And again, this is back early 2000s. So I'm not talking about this like 50% THC stuff that they have now. This was just straight grown from the dirt, picked, rolled up, ground up, rolled up into a spliff. So I was like, you know what? I was feeling so bummed out. I was like, you know what? Who cares? You know, I'm out of my father's house. I'm my own man. Let's do this. Now my boy Dan, he had the Metallica posters and the AC/DC posters and Iron Maiden with that Eddie Zombie with Wu-Tang. Like, he was a rocker and a hip-hop fan, so his room was decorated with all these posters. And so we smoked up the joint, and he put on some Pink Floyd. First he put on some Wu-Tang, and we were rocking, you know, enjoying that, and then he put on Dark Side of the Moon, my first time experiencing Pink Floyd. And I was enjoying that, just completely zoning out to it. And then he put on The Wall, and then Comfortably Numb came on. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I listen to all genres of music. I'm a hip-hop head, but I listen to Metallica and AC/DC, but my favorite song of all time is Comfortably Numb. And the reason why is sitting there in his room, high out of my mind. Never experienced being high before. I'm smoking some powerful hydro and this big blunt. I took off my glasses because my eyesight is horrible. So everything is out of focus. So I can see, but everything is blurry when I take off the glasses. And I'm looking at his posters while being high and listening to Comfortably Numb, and I just start to draw. My imagination started going buck wild, just uninhibited by my issues. And he put it on Comfortably Numb again, and Great Big Gig in the Sky, and all these beautiful Pink Floyd tracks. And by the end of our session, I was so chill and relaxed. And he's like, Dan asked me, so what was it again you were pissed off about? And with my bloodshot eyes, I just looked up at him. I was sitting on the floor looking at the posters. He was just chilling at the corner of his bed. And I just looked up at him and I was just like, man, I don't even know. Don't even remember. And he's like, exactly. That's how you meditate. You get some herb, listen to some good music, and drown out the noise of life. And you know, Dan and I, we've lost contact over the years. We're all grown and whatnot, but you know what, man? Gotta give you a thank you and shout out for that, because it changed my life. And going forward, I've never been so hardcore in smoking weed that I would smoke to the point of being stupid and that it doesn't have any effect. I've always been a recreational smoker, so I'll smoke now and then. You know, like even now, that my family, work, my business, and all that, I smoke only once a week on Friday. And that's my wife and I, that's just our tradition to relax. We put the little one to bed, make sure she's out cold, come downstairs, clear up the dishes, the sink, you know, all that, makes sure the place is clean. You know, catch up on our Netflix or our superhero shows and just smoke a joint and just relax. And that's what it is for me. But also during some of the most hard, depressed times of my life, where I was going through relationship problems and all that during my mid-20s into my 30s, before I met my wife, you know, weed was there to help me deal with depression, with mental breakdowns. And so, you know, for all those out there who want to put weed in this category of this evil drug and want to still think in these antiquated ways, that's not what, it depends on the individual and what you use it for. For me, it's for meditation, for reflection, and for relaxation. And of course, when Chappelle Show Season 2 came out, I'd never laughed so hard in my life watching that Rick James skit. To this day, I've never laughed and cried so hard. And again, great memories with marijuana. So with that, let me introduce you to something that myself and my war buddy, my Navy buddy created that pays homage and honor to marijuana. So everyone out there, I'm going to introduce you to the world of Happy Gnome. Now what Happy Gnome is, it's a trading card set that was developed and originally created by George Leon, who is a decorated Navy vet who lives in Washington State. He was active during Operation Desert Storm and during the mission in Somalia. Most people have heard of Black Hawk Down. He wasn't one of the soldiers who was involved in that altercation, but he was in Somalia during that occurrence. And a lot of what happened in Somalia really affected him, and he still suffers to this day from PTSD. But to help him deal with his afflictions and to help him meditate and to relax, marijuana has been very crucial to his recovery and helps him out a lot. And he also used his artistic abilities to create these gnomes, this family of gnomes that go through the world, through time, through space, and through reality itself to try different strains of marijuana. And it led to the creation of this trading card set called Happy Gnome. So as you've seen these pictures, you know, this is a normal trading card set. Originally we wanted it to be sticker cards, but we decided, you know what, we could pay for this out of pocket ourselves. So we made it into a trading card set limited to only 420 copies for its first print. And the whole idea is to showcase the positives of each strain of marijuana and how it affects you mentally and physically. Now there are well over 700 different strains of marijuana. I'm sure more strains will be discovered or genetically made as time goes on, and each one does something different. In Canada, marijuana is going to be decriminalized across the entire nation on July 1st, 2018, and more US states are decriminalizing marijuana as they figured out that, you know, it is not like other drugs like ecstasy and heroin and all those other horrible chemical ones for you. And they realize that there's tax benefits to putting it out there on the market. So really they're doing it for the tax revenue. But regardless, now we're not going to see people going to jail and being punished for simply enjoying some marijuana. But we wanted to do our part to help educate people on just the myriad of strains that are out there and what they do and how they can benefit you based on what you're looking for, either for relaxation or dealing with stress or dealing with anxiety, or to just get a good body buzz, or to just be stupid and just be smoked to the point that you're just dumbfounded and you just want to watch something funny and laugh your butt off all night. So as we said, that this is being sold on zelfacomics.com, which is the business website. It's on eBay and it's on Etsy.com. The links are there for you to check them out. Only 420 copies. Each one is numbered up to 420. We make them ourselves. We're very proud of this, and we really love support from our fellow chronics out there. It's only 15 bucks, and you're going to get the very first edition, and we're planning to come out with this bi-yearly. So 2 times a year, about 30 to 50 cards per set. This first set is 30 cards. And then the next set we're aiming for 50 cards, and then the next set after that 50 cards, and we'll just keep on going until we cover all 700 plus strains of marijuana. We'll even have dream strain cards, so we might actually do the devil's lettuce just for the fun of it as well. And we have special inserts that we put in 1 in every 20 packs, or I should say complete sets. So we're not making you buy foil packs, it is the complete set. Each one we come out with will be the complete set. The Weed blog did a nice write-up on this. We sent a copy to 420 magazine, a very respected magazine in the industry. They're going to be doing a review that most likely will come out next year. Cannabis Culture, Danny, thank you. You've taken samples of this and they showed on Pot TV. They're going to put on the Cannabis Culture magazine as well. You know, we've been talking and spreading the word and just getting people to take interest in this. So we know we're building the brand, we're building the reputation of it, and we love people's feedback. It's already started selling on Etsy, already started selling on eBay, already selling on our website. So it doesn't matter if you want it for Christmas or even after Christmas into the new year. It doesn't matter. If you want a fun trading card set, not simply just a trading card set showing pictures of the different strains and just simple information, fun cards that where you can follow this crazy stoner family of gnomes as they try different forms of marijuana in a literal sense. So smoking blueberry with blueberries, Jack Frost actually toking with Arctic creatures, you know, train wreck, actually having a train wrecked in oil and smoke, you know, just having fun with the concept, plus sharing with you the benefits of the strain. Happy Gnome is the way to go, and if this takes off, then hey, you'll have the first 420 sets that are out there. So check it out. Thanks for watching. All the best, guys.